So I want to talk about EMESIS Blue. I have a general understanding of some of the main themes of the movie. Now, I don't necessarily have a script or anything, I kind of just want to talk about it, so consider this kind of an understanding video of deconstructed thoughts that has a rough outline. I have a little cheat sheet here of all the notes that I have on the movie from my gatherings, and then I just kind of want to go over the main things which I could extract, because I found this to be a very interesting viewing experience. So, first of all, if you don't know what EMESIS Blue is, it's a Team Fortress 2 psychological horror movie based on the Respawn machine, basically being this machine which brings people back from the dead after being killed. And so it works on these 10 mercenaries, but it seems to have these psychological effects, and one of the people who it works on ends up shooting themselves. So this was developed by Helix Technology through a man called Archibald. That is basically the background of the entire movie. If you haven't seen it, go see it, because I'm not going to provide too much of a background, but essentially I believe that the interwoven narratives of Detective Jacques, the spy, or Jacques, Dr. Ludwig, the medic, and Jane Doe, the soldier, depict themes of corruption, isolation, and trauma, with each character's journey revealing the individual experiences and overarching issues within the dystopian world of EMESIS Blue. To start off, we have the spy character, Detective Jacques, who represents corruption. The spy was Archibald's right-hand man, and his initial role in the story, similar to the soldier, was that they were kind of our hero characters. We were following them as they were watching the heavy, who had the briefcase, and later in the movie, he turns into the antagonist. This is when he's kidnapped by the pyro and he accidentally gets gasoline poured on him, and he lights a cigarette, he puts it out, and he gets caught on fire. But the thing about his journey into corruption is that it's completely motivated by revenge. He later ends up, affecting the surrounding environment and other characters. We see this during the Russian roulette scene with the medic, as well as during the funeral. Of course, nothing works out for him in the end as the medic is resurrected due to some ambiguity with the movie, which we can kind of discuss. I think it has something to do with the medication he was taking. I think the medication corrupted him to a certain extent, but the medic is a whole different can of worms, which we'll get into when we discuss our second theme, which is the theme of isolation. Ludwig's struggle with his dual personality and drug use. We know for a fact that the medic has a dual personality. He is the person who kidnapped the scout. There's certain lighting and framing throughout the movie which show this. It reveals it within his eyes, where one is red and one is blue. We know that he's haunted by the plague doctor, M, Der Motor, or the Undertaker, also shown by the German on TV. Perhaps this figure, we never actually see him be this character in the movie. However, upon resurrection, he does turn into somewhat of a homicidal maniac, and even on his third, or was it maybe his second death and awakening at the funeral, he's donned in this skinny all-black outfit, and that's after we see him post-resurrection. And so maybe we can speculate that upon being killed and resurrected, possibly due to the EMESIS Blue medication, he momentarily transforms into this figure which he is haunted by. Another facet which reflects the isolation is, amidst all the chaos during the Del Conager slaughterhouse, the medic is primarily by himself, allowing him to focus on his inner turmoil and moral conflicts, basically the actions of most of the stuff that he's done. But I think what kind of perfectly reflects this is the corrupted file of the Respawn machine. He's haunted by the fact that something has happened to the scout, whether he feels guilty for it because he didn't do anything, or the subconscious fact that he knows that he did do something. He tries to respawn the scout with the Respawn machine. However, it results in a complete failure, with the scout respawning as this bloody, goopy mess. Visual homage to The Shining, something that we see frequently throughout the movie. There's the blood door scenes, which I just mentioned. There's Demo Man drinking with the engineer Ghost, and of course there's the ending scene with the bathroom. I think the whole movie itself is a big homage to horror movies and horror in general, but I think The Shining is the one that's fairly obvious. And finally, we have the theme, which I think is most present throughout the movie, which ties specifically to the soldier. I think the three main characters each represent one of these three main things. This one can be placed into every character. However, it's perfectly represented through the soldier, specifically in the scene where he actually has PTSD flashbacks. If I didn't mention it, it's trauma. And I think trauma is the core theme of the entire movie. But like I said, we can specifically see it through the soldier. He literally has a scene of PTSD. His journey reflects this as well. It could be a reflection of him coping with the psychological and physical scars of war. This could be what we see during the chapter Catabasis, which, if you don't know, is basically when the protagonist of a story enters hell. Because to my interpretation, the respawn machine is supposed to represent hell on earth, whether it be literally, as we see with the pile of corpses as he falls into the pit, or on a metaphorical level, him going through the respawn machine is important because it reflects that trauma. The broader implications of trauma and perception are reflected through this. He was the only merc that we know for a fact was not taking the EMESIS Blue medication, which allegedly tampered with the merc's minds. Well, not allegedly, we see it. We see it perfectly shown with the medic. But he was the only person who never took the medication. Whether or not the other mercs did is up for debate, but we at least know that one character did and the other character didn't, and the trauma is the result of him not taking the medication. The paths of Jacques, Ludwig, and Doe reflect the movie's thematic core as they all go through their stories. They are the three main characters of the story. The narrative revolves around their three paths, all spawning from when the cult abducts Archibald. And I think that the dystopian themes of the movie amplify these themes, and it's very interesting to see these themes through the lens of Team Fortress 2 and how the movie decides to go with it. Obviously, this takes place in an alternate Team Fortress 2 timeline where there's no Gray Man. There are other things we can say about the mercs. For example, I believe that the Blue Scout and the Red Demo Man kind of represent innocence on both sides of the teams. The Sniper and the Pyro and the Heavy all have implications as well. The Pyro is kind of like the harbinger of the cult. He's kind of like this demonic demon figure. He's somebody who has his own free will but follows orders. It's not really clear if he's the one that gives the medic the cross necklace, but he does scar the medic, which is kind of like a symbol of permanence. The soldier is obviously the hero of the story. He kind of acts as our eyes. The engineers, or rather the Conager family, were the creators of the Helix Foundation, so maybe they were the ones who made the respawn machine. They kind of act as an independent group or Lone Rangers in the part of the movie we're seeing, because I feel like the movie takes place after so many events have occurred. We're kind of picking up the movie in the middle of something. We have the medic, protagonist of the film, dual personality. He's kind of this unknown entity. And then we have the spy, who is our hero, transformed into the antagonist. There's also zombies in the films, so it's safe to say that the movie does have some fantastical paranormal elements. I think a lot of it is left ambiguous on purpose for, interpretation. So this is just my thoughts, what I think the main themes are of the movie. I'd love to hear what you have to think about it. I haven't seen any breakdown or analysis videos. This is purely just my raw thoughts of me just analyzing the movie and seeing what I could come up with. So if you have watched some 2-hour breakdown frame by frame analysis video and there's something that I missed, please feel free to share that with me, because I'm just going off of what I have seen from the movie purely. I didn't do any research separate to this, but I just wanted to put this out here. This was fresh on my mind. Corruption, isolation, and trauma, highlighted through the spy, the medic, and the soldier. Let me know what you all think, and as always, thank you for watching, and take care.